From the podcast Wide Open Spaces with Elise. Elise is spelled Ilise. Thank you so much for joining me today for this live. So, my podcast is all about you and self empowerment, self improvement, and just those kind of crappy things or things that happen to us on a daily basis. And how do we cope and how do we get through? And a big part of that is self expression. How do you express yourself? Or don't you express yourself? Or do you express yourself inappropriately? Yell, raise your voice, scream. Do you find the other person saying to you, stop yelling at me, stop talking at me that way? Or do you kind of sink into yourself and not express yourself and let it build up and let it affect your relationships and your life? Self expression is a superpower that we have. And how we tap into that, well, that's really up to you. There's many ways that we can express ourselves appropriately. We can talk, sit down and talk with people. I don't recommend texting. I don't know if you've experienced this before, but I know I have. Texting can get misconstrued. It can be taken the wrong way. People can read into your words and what you're saying or not saying. So I really do feel that it's best to sit down with someone verbally, however you can hear each other, whether it's on the phone, in person, whatever. Sitting down with someone, expressing yourself. Now, I'm going to say this word that I know a lot of people kind of cringe when they hear this, but journaling. Now, if I was sitting in a therapy session with my clients, I would absolutely encourage them to journal their feelings, what's going on with them, just kind of getting those haphazard emotions down on paper. But journaling is not for everybody. Not everybody wants to sit down and write what just happened to them. But self expression through the written word is very powerful. Now, we all have those smartphones sitting in our hands, usually with us 24/7. If you're listening to me on social media, then I would assume you are one of those people. Social media gets us in touch with the world in a different way, in positive and in negative ways. But a great use of your smartphone is in your notes. When you have these random weird thoughts, jot them down, or feelings, or you walk away from a situation and you're not sure what's going on, but you're feeling a certain way. Jot them down in notes on your smartphone. There's a way to express yourselves. And sometimes we need to walk away for a moment and then maybe look back at what we've written down to analyze, to decide what was going on with inside of ourselves. Relationships are the core of who we are as human beings. The type of relationships we have, the interactions we have with others. And so writing can be so powerful. The beauty about writing is it can be for your eyes only. Nobody ever has to see it but you. I know during the pandemic, when I was stuck at home day after day after day after day, you kind of found yourself getting a little loopy. But in that time, I would have these odd thoughts, I guess, because I had so much time on my hands. And I began to write them down, and it's streams of thought that I had. And there's some pretty interesting, educated, witty things that I wrote in those moments. And that was the beauty and how I empowered myself as I look back on what I wrote. It brings me back to that time. But there's also some things that I can now incorporate into my life that I jotted down during those odd, crazy times where we were stuck in. Gosh, I don't even want to go back there thinking about it. So, how do you express yourself? Maybe do a video of yourself, a video log, whatever works for you. Start a podcast to express yourself. The coping mechanisms that we have inside of us vary for each of us. Some are stronger, some are weaker in each of us. You must find what that coping mechanism that works for you the best is. And writing just may be that mechanism for you. The other beauty thing about writing is it doesn't have to be for your eyes only. You can share with people. You can write a book, short stories, share your knowledge, share your experiences, share your wealth of who you are. You never know what your message or how your message may touch someone. Self-empowerment and self-growth takes work. And I find on a daily basis, there are things that are always challenging me. And through the written word, and for me, as a former therapist, now podcaster, blogger, the word through this microphone that I get to share, the things that I see and hear out in the world, and watching how people interact, and you can literally see people when they're agitated and when people are elated, and looking at their facial expressions. We express ourselves in so many ways. So the challenge I have for you is, how are you going to improve on your expression with others? The expression of your feelings, the expression of your anger, your happiness, your sadness. People can learn from people. And by you empowering yourself, by not bottling up your feelings, well, people can learn from you. And there's no greater feeling that when you've accomplished something, that others learn and grow from you as well. Go to my podcast. It's at wideopenspaceswithelise.com. Elise is spelled Ilise. It's my website. You can click on podcast. It'll take you to the podcast. There's also my blog, and you can find out a little bit about me. You can also go to my TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. Express yourself. Be you and be true to who you are. And remember, positive thoughts always create positive energy. And in the thought of self-expression, go out and explore all those wide open spaces in your world. It's the weekend. It's Happy Friday. So go out and express yourself.